Good evening, everyone. Today we're going to be discussing a very important issue regarding a woman named Henrietta Lacks, a poor African-American woman whose cells were unlawfully taken from her and used by scientists. Her cells, famously known as HeLa cells, spearheaded a multi-million-dollar industry and were involved in the invention of the polio vaccine and a plethora of other medical advances. Here to debate this matter are Stanley Gartler and Leonard Hayflick of Bedford, Pennsylvania, two renowned scientists who have participated in the distribution and implementation of the famous HeLa cells. Dr. Gartler and Dr. Hayflick, thank you for joining us today.
Thanks for having me, Brian.
Now, I heard that the HeLa cells have attracted much controversy within the scientific community. Can you both explain your differing stances on this matter?
Well, Brian, by experimenting with 18 of the most commonly used cell cultures, I was able to determine that all of them contain the rare genetic marker known as glucose 6-phosphate dehydrogenase A, G6PD-A, an enzyme variant of G6PD found solely in people of African origin. Now here's a spin. Only one of the 18 cell lines I collected in my lab was that of HeLa cells, so theoretically I should have been able to detect the presence of the marker in the HeLa cells exclusively.
I'd hate to interrupt, but are you saying your HeLa cells were contaminated with the HeLa cells before your observations?
Of course, much more vigorous than a generic bacterial infection, HeLa cells are able to travel through the air on mere dust particles. Once inside the petri dish of a foreign cell line, one HeLa cell can multiply until it has filled the space the other cells once occupied. To put it colloquially, the HeLa cells simply take over.
This is simply absurd. The G6PD-A genetic marker exists in other cells as well. My personal collection of cultured cells taken from my Caucasian wife's amniotic fluid, a cell line called WISH, tested positively for the presence of G6PD-A. This is contradictory to your belief that the G6PD-A is exclusive to the cells of African Americans.
Which reverts to my initial recommendation. HeLa cell contamination is a larger issue than what anyone suspects. You should deem your cell lines contaminated and unable to be properly experimented on.
On a more ethical note, Rebecca Skloot believes the medical community has taken advantage of the Lacks family for a large profit. More specifically, George Otto Guy, who originally cultivated the HeLa cells for research from Henrietta Lacks' cervix, became the subject of much criticism. Why does the general public believe his actions, as well as those of others in the scientific community, are reprehensible and morally corrupt? The evidence of HeLa cells' numerous benefits to society is incontrovertible. The immortal cells have been used around the globe in cancer and AIDS research and gene mapping. However, the HeLa cell industry's success is tainted with its history. The members of the Lacks family remain destitute and oblivious that Henrietta's cells were generating billions. I believe Dr. Gartler and I both agree that the HeLa cell industry was therefore, in many ways, corrupt. Dr. Gartler and Dr. Hayflick, thank you for speaking on behalf of this matter. Rebecca Skloot's The Immortal Life of Henrietta Lacks serves as an evaluation of the ethics behind the HeLa cell industry, and should be read by all who want to understand both sides of this sensitive issue. This concludes our time today on MSNBC. Thank you all for watching.